Welcome to the hottest movie review on the internet today, the A-List Review. I am your host, the Game Changer, Wes Troop. And look who's back. We'll just put him as the co-host, Tito the co-host. Anyway, so this week I have 4 reviews for you guys. We've got... Look, he woke up, he knew it was coming. The only wide release that came out this week was In the Heart of the Sea, So we're going to review the action-adventure film In the Heart of the Sea, starring Chris Hemsworth. And I'm going to take a look at the movie that hit Netflix, the first of at least 4, starring Adam Sandler. Not the same movie, thank God, but 4 different Adam Sandler movies, called The Ridiculous Six. We'll find out exactly how ridiculous it is. As well as a movie I recently watched on DVD and Blu-ray called The Vatican Tapes, a new horror movie. And also, we're going to continue the random reviews with a film you can find straight to DVD. You can find it at the DVD store or the Redbox, Netflix, whatever. It's a new Christmas movie called Santa's Little Helper. Yes, this is going to be a fun week. So let's kick this week off with the new Ron Howard film, In the Heart of the Sea. A surviving crew member of the whaling ship, the Essex, tells the story of their voyage for the first time in his life to author Herman Melville, who is looking for some material for his next novel. After killing a whale for oil, the captain makes the call to look for more as they end up facing off against a humongous sperm whale. Sperm. This whale destroys the ship, leaving the crew shipwrecked with very few options of how to survive. So what did I think of In the Heart of the Sea? I thought it's a conventional action drama. This is the true story that inspired Moby Dick. So it basically is Moby Dick without being Moby Dick. Okay. Why not just make Moby Dick? Our narrator, who says he will only tell what is necessary to Melville, is all-knowing, even though there's things he talks about that he couldn't possibly know about. Of course, there's the usual ship stuff, including the pulling of ropes, the shouting of orders, and all that jazz. Animal lovers like myself will most likely not enjoy all of the graphic violence with blood and gore after they capture the first whale. It's obviously fake in the film, but afterwards you may want to join the Sea Shepherd. When the crew is in peril, whether it be a storm or when they finally encounter Moby Dick, who's not yet Moby Dick, it's really the only time anything entertaining happens. After being shipwrecked, things get a little more interesting, at least, as they decide they have to eat each other in order to survive. Yay for cannibalism! Other than 1 or 2 of the crew, none of these characters really make us feel for them, and you might just find yourself rooting for the whale. I know I was. Chris Hemsworth does nice work as Owen Chase, the first mate of the Essex who got screwed out of being captain and vows to end the beast who's been ruining their lives. Benjamin Walker as Captain George Pollard, Jr., the captain who argues with Owen over many ideals and flaunts his title. Cillian Murphy, the Scarecrow, as Matthew Joy, the second mate. Tom Holland, who's going to be playing Spider-Man. So hold on up here. We got Thor, we got Abraham Lincoln from Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer, we got the Scarecrow, and then we got the guy that's going to be playing Spider-Man. Alright then, Tom Holland as young Thomas Nickerson, the cabin boy. Brendan Gleeson as old Thomas Nickerson, you guessed it, the older version of Tom Holland, who's telling his story, and Ben Whishaw, who plays Q in Skyfall and Spectre, as Herman Melville, the author looking for some new material. In the Heart of the Sea has a few compelling moments, but isn't the whale of a tale it desperately wants to be. I'm going to give it the rating of meh, it's okay. Alright, well, that was the only wide release this week in theaters, so that brings us to... What do you do when you're not in theaters? A lot of times you go on Netflix! And look, I have it right there. And look, there it is, The Ridiculous Six. Anyway... well, you know what the movie is. Let's find out how redonkulous this movie actually is, and if it's worth your 2 hours of Netflix time, or should you just watch something like Orange is the New Black, or Jessica Jones, or something like that. Let's find out if this is any worth watching, shall we? Here's my review of The Ridiculous Six. Tommy, the son of an outlaw, was raised by Native Americans since his mother died when he was a young boy. Now his father has found his long-lost son and wants to give him $50,000 he has buried somewhere before he dies. The only problem is he stole the money from a group of bandits who also show up. The bandits kidnap his father, and Tommy realizes he has to either find or steal the money in order to save his father's life. Along his journey, he comes upon other men he soon learns are his half-brothers. The six band together in order to meet and save their father. So what did I think of The Ridiculous Six? I thought it's an awful Western comedy. This is the first Adam Sandler movie to stream exclusively on Netflix, and I can say I can certainly wait for the others that are set for the future. It also made headlines while filming for causing Native American extras to walk off the set from the script being too offensive. Had the movie been in theaters, I'm certain more people would have walked out of the film. The film tries to be the next Blazing Saddles, but really misses the mark. The jokes are all painfully unfunny and didn't make me laugh even once. At one point, one of the brothers is set to hang, and I found myself rooting for the hangman. The highlights include a donkey with explosive diarrhea, a John Wilkes Booth flashback, and Mark Twain talking like a rapper. I saw in the end credits he's played by Vanilla Ice. Oh, gods. There's also tons of cameos from the usual Sandler crew, from David Spade and Steve Buscemi, and even an appearance from Blake Shelton. But just having funny people walk on a scene doesn't make it funny. They actually have to do things that cause laughter. The story has the generic Western formula, with elements such as a poker game, bank robberies, and of course a few showdowns. There's actually a few surprises, but after sitting through an hour and a half of torture, it doesn't really have any effect. Adam Sandler stars as Tommy Stockburn, the warrior trying to rob the dishonorable to save his father, Terry Crews, Jorge Garcia, Taylor Lautner, Rob Schneider, and Luke Wilson as Tommy's half-brothers who join him on his mission, Nick Nolte as Frank Stockburn, Tommy's cowboy father who is finally bothered with him after all these years later, and Danny Trejo as Cicero, the head of the gang. Alright, we had 2 Chicago jokes in this thing. Alright. The head of the gang who kidnaps Frank. The Ridiculous Six is a film that should have been put out to pasture and hopefully won't get confused with Tarantino's new movie, The Hateful Eight. I'm going to give it the rating of... Netflix. For this one, I got 2 words for ya. Suck it. Alright, that brings us to a DVD review of the week. And this is a movie that kept almost getting released, and then about a month before it would come out would get pushed back. And then I think it went from February to May to July, and it finally just came out in limited release in July, and I'm like, well, I'm going to have to see this movie because it keeps getting pushed back, and I want to see how bad this is. Let's see how bad this one is, shall we? This is a horror film called The Vatican Tapes. A young lady celebrating her birthday with her family at a surprise party goes to the hospital after accidentally cutting herself. Soon after, she starts acting strange and even nasty toward her family. She soon is involved in a taxi crash, which she causes and ends up in a coma. She comes out of it, but is even more odd and put into the psychiatric ward. Soon a priest believes she needs an exorcism. Will the priest be able to rid the demon? Only one way to find out. Don't watch. The Vatican Tapes, what did I think of it? I thought it's a ghastly possession movie. What's supposed to be scary ends up being unintentionally funny, as there's certainly nothing frightening going on at all. Also, anything too bloody or violent is done off camera, teasing us with something that could have actually been cool. The film is so over the top, it feels like a parody, much like an entry in the Scary Movie series. The possessed girl goes from causing crows to fly into the bus they're on, all the way to causing a riot in the asylum and literally blowing her house open. The story really just picks and chooses what it likes from the so many other possession movies that have been coming out lately, and brings nothing new or exciting to the table. The ending of the film had me howling at the screen and is almost as ridiculous as it gets. Ow! Olivia Taylor-Dudley stars as Angela Holmes, the girl who seems to be possessed by a demon. Michael Pena, what the hell is he doing in this movie? As Father Oscar Lozano, the priest who attempts an exorcism on Angela. Doug Ray Scott as Roger, Angela's father, who's very worried, and John Patrick Imodori, I think, as Pete, it doesn't really matter, Angela's boyfriend, who isn't quite sure what's up with her. The film releases date, as I said, kept getting pushed back this year, and finally was given limited release. I can see why this occurred. If you're looking for a good scare, stay far away from the Vatican Tapes. I'm gonna give it the I'm gonna give you the rating. Hey, Vatican Tapes, I got 2 words for you too, and they're the same words I just gave the ridiculous 6. Suck it. All right, and finally this week we have our random review, and it's a Christmas film as we're going through the holidays. This is a film from WWE Films starring Mike the Miz Mizanin and my girl Paige. What up, girl? This is called Santa's Little Helper. Businessman named Dax the Axe, nicknamed Dax the Axe, that's not actually his real name, that would be horrible, gives a recreation center notice that their building will be demolished with no sympathy. When he gets back to his office building, he's fired because no one likes him. I know that feeling. After losing his job, girlfriend, car, and soon his house, Dax is desperate for any job. Soon a strange woman comes to his door claiming she's from a very important employer who wants to give him a job if he can pass certain tests. The man she works for ends up being Santa Claus, who is in need of a new go-to elf. Dax must show he still has the heart and toughness he used to have when he was a young boy if he wants the job. So what did I think of Santa's Little Helper? I thought it's an average Christmas comedy. Yes, these are all negative reviews this week. I'm glad I could bring you all down with me. This is the kind of film you'd expect to see on the Nickelodeon or the Family Channel holiday special. There were a few jokes that made me chuckle. At least it was funnier than the ridiculous 6. But this is mostly a comedy that younger kids will enjoy. During Dax's trials, we see him have to face off against bikers at a bar, wear a literal monkey suit at a kid's birthday party, and try to get senior citizens to exercise at a retirement home. We also learn of something in the character's past which made him act the way he does today. Once he gets to the North Pole, he is challenged by another elf for the position. All of this leads to a pretty predictable Christmas Carol-like ending. There's also a pretty cheesy romance subplot. Mike the Miz Mizanin, awesome, stars as Dax, the self-centered jerk who has to change his ways for a job of a lifetime. Anna Lynn McCord as Billy, Oh, Billy, one of Santa's elf friends who he sends to scout and befriend Dax and see if he's fit for the job. Eric Keenlyside, yeah, as Santa Claus, the big guy in the red suit looking for a new ho-ho-ho. Literally, that's what the job position is called. And speaking of ho-ho-hos, WWE Diva Paige, I love Paige. If you're watching, I'm just joking, as Eleanor, the feisty elf who feels she should be first in line for the job. I'll let her be first in line for the job. Santa's little helper makes an okay watch if you're wrapping presents and are a fan of the cast, but kids will probably get more out of it than the parents. I'm gonna give it the rating of meh. It's okay. Alright, well, that does it for this week. Next week, I will be hopefully much more excited about this show, because next week, all the anticipation for the whole year has been building to this for me. Next week will be my review of Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Yeah, I'm like shaking in anticipation for that. Let's pray I have some good things to say, because if not, I will be pissed. I'm sure even if it's bad, I'm gonna like it. So there you go. But come back anyway next week. As well as my reviews of Sisters. I don't know if I'm going to force myself to see Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Road Chip, or else I'll call it Road Shit, or not. If it pops up, it pops up. If I go to it, I go to it. If not, you got to give me a pass, guys. Those movies are very hard to sit through. So maybe, maybe not. And whatever else may come up. But definitely, Star Wars: The Force Awakens will be on the show next week. No doubt about it. So, until then, don't forget to subscribe right here on YouTube. YouTube.com/WestsideOf515. You can like the Facebook page, Facebook.com/WestTroopAlist. Follow me on the Twitter and the Instagram @WesAlist. And of course, my book's going to be coming in just a couple weeks. If you want a copy of the book, hit me up on one of those links. Only $10 plus shipping and over 150 reviews. All my reviews that I've done this year will be in the book. So definitely check that out. Until next time, Tito, you got anything to say? Nope. Until next time, Troop out.